Embaixadora, no seu livro de memórias, na parte final, a senhora faz uma defesa muito enfática de mais diplomacia e menos intervenções, ações militares. No entanto, a senhora defendeu, apoiou durante o governo Obama, ações na Líbia e na Síria. Olhando em retrospecto, analisando a situação dos dois países hoje, e também levando em consideração o anúncio recente do governo Biden da retirada de tropas do Afeganistão, a senhora se arrepende de ter apoiado essas posições?
Again, I think if we want to go back in time and talk about the threat that Gaddafi posed to hundreds of thousands of Libyans in Benghazi and elsewhere, we can do that. I can say these issues are very complex. There's a reason, for example, that Russia allowed the UN Security Council to support the creation of a no-fly zone in Libya. There's a reason Brazil also did not vote no on that resolution. There was a really profound threat to human life. I think where the world has failed consistently, the United States, but also other actors, perhaps including Brazil, is that we have not invested nearly enough in diplomacy. And that has been my view for my entire career and was my view in the Obama administration. So after people were rescued in Libya by the UN-backed, Arab League-backed, NATO-backed intervention that you're referring to, there should have been much more substantial diplomacy on the ground in Libya to bring the various factions together. It doesn't mean it would have worked because Gaddafi had so damaged relations among Libyans inside Libya, but absolutely, I think we can look back and wish that far more were done. On Syria, I'm very proud of having helped dismantle the Syrian chemical weapons program. I negotiated that resolution with my Russian counterpart. I write about that in The Education of an Idealist. I think it's incredibly important to have dismantled that program. At the same time, the Assad regime has used chemical weapons hundreds of times against its own people, gassed its citizens, left children frozen, purple, frozen in time, never to breathe again. And I don't think the international community had a sufficient response to that. I think if you and I had spoken before the Syrian war started and I said, you're not going to believe it, but Bashar al-Assad is going to use chemical weapons against his people hundreds of times, and no one in his regime will ever be held accountable for that. Nobody will go to jail. Nobody will be sanctioned by the United Nations. You'd have been shocked by that. So we need to do far more, I think, to hold the perpetrators of atrocities accountable.